Yeah, man, like, where's the apology to the conspiracy niggas, huh? Where's the apology? Like, I don't hear nobody ever talk. I listen to a lot of truthers. I've been investigating this reality for a very long time. A lot of people have come out and told the truth about a whole bunch of things. I never hear any apology. See, I never hear any apology to all the truthers that have laid the groundwork for our fucking reality. Because one thing about truthers is they always know what the real is ahead of time. But they're always crucified. They're always mocked and they're always laughed at. Shut up. They're always mocked and they're always laughed at. And so, you know what I mean? I be chill. I like to chill and stay calm. But you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody ever reaches back, pause, and says, yeah, you know what? My bad. That guy that was talking about that crazy thing back in the day, he turned out to be right. So I'm like kind of the voice of the ancestors in that regard. Because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the reality unfold. A lot of the things that I've been studying for fucking pretty much my whole life. I'm going to try and chill out, all right? Pretty much my whole life been studying some of these things. It's coming to pass in the last maybe decade. And now people are like, oh, okay, that is happening. I ain't hear not one of y'all be like, so listen, shout out to all the people who tell the truth. I don't even like the term conspiracy theorist. We know that that's a CIA term. I'm not like a crazy tinfoil hat guy. I'm not in my basement fucking etching, crime grids with the string trying to find out. I just read a lot, listen, and I'm concerned with the nature of the reality. And just as a happenstance of being concerned with the nature of the reality and what the truth is, what the true reality is, I've learned a lot of it is a lot of cover-ups and shit. Like, I don't go out. Some of us don't go out looking like, I don't count that as like really expansion in consciousness. I kind of do, I kind of don't. I don't count learning all the government lies and all that as a great expansion in consciousness. It helps you to understand what's being veiled from you, but a lot of those things are like not going to help you on a soul level. Maybe some of those things. What it overall tells you is just that this whole world is fake, right? And of course, just like anyone else, when you start your like awakening process or quote unquote consciousness journeys, there seems to be like a general path. And one of the early paths is just learning all the lies that have been told to you. And you're like, oh, this is a lie? Shit. Oh, this is the proof? Wow, that's convincing. Oh, what else is there? And that's a hole that you can go down for the rest of your life. You see that? Y'all read the Bardo? Did y'all read the book? Did y'all read the Book of the Dead? There are many paths that you can get stuck on. You can get stuck on a whole bunch of shit here. So by no means am I saying it's okay to be a rabid conspiracy theorist, but shout out to y'all too. Because at least you're taking the time. I'm talking about my diehard like conspiracy theorists. Shout out to y'all too, because at least you're taking the time to question the reality. So yeah, nobody's making any videos like, oh yeah, these guys were right. Let's go down a list of some of the things I can just come off the top of my dome. Right? Like CIA disclosures. They literally disclosed, I forgot what it's called, the Project Dream thing. Right? They disclosed that they have They have ways to astral project. They have like the Professor X helmet that allows them to like manipulate the astral plane, right? Fucking UFOs being disclosed by the government is a big one. That went on during the height of the scamdemic. The height of the scamdemic. They said, I mean, it's been all over the globe that other people have said that yes, it does exist, but America dropped the footage and went on all the local news channels and said, yes, we can confirm it. I'm putting the phone down here because I got police behind me. What happened to that? Didn't y'all call people like me in my community like nutters and weirdos? Did it not turn out to be true? Right? I always say, what y'all need to understand about this reality is there's a term called disclosure. The truth has to be told to you at some point via some venue. It can be hidden real deep, in some obscure way, or another conspiracy, truth in plain sight, where they show you in these movies. It has to be told to you. All the things that I mean all. Shout out to the old researchers you'd have to go into a book, into the library, and be diligent and be scholarly to understand that all truths are here. Nothing is veiled from you. But it is. It isn't veiled from you, but it also is, because it's put in places that people don't care to read, like motherfucking books, contract law, like law, stuff like that. It's hidden. Okay. But then the motherfuckers on YouTube or read a book or wrote a book or gave you a speech and trying to give it in small morsels to the everyman, and you get teased and made fun of. Now, trust me, I never got teased and made fun of too crazy. I've been, I've said some shit and my homies be like, nah, man, like, that sounds crazy. And I'm probably labeled a conspiracy brother. Nobody's ever called me that to my face, but, probably, not that there's anything wrong with it. I don't mind the label anymore. The only reason that I fought the label is because, again, that was another CIA program to make conscious people who can observe the reality be discounted. I don't know if y'all know how labels work. We have that just in social media and cancel culture. If somebody puts a hashtag something and it's bad, then you obviously don't want to be part of that hashtag. You don't want to be part of that movement. Hashtag cancel culture is one of them. I don't want to be canceled. And so all things are coming to pass. The Diddy thing, you understand? Bill Cosby. Niggas been telling you that fucking hip hop in Hollywood has a whole bunch of weird stuff. People have written books. People have told you a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in there. You understand? I have no problem with you overall to the Rainbow, posse, but I'm just saying, it's one thing to be okay with that, and it's another thing to be trying to turn people out that are heterosexual. That's a whole nother thing, right? Like that's an agenda. I don't hear nobody being like, oh man. I mean, at this point, I think a lot of y'all kind of already knew. I don't hear nobody reaching back and being like, wow, those guys were right about hip hop and the Illuminati in hip hop. And even though those rappers said, right, Frank, not Frank, I was going to say Frank Ocean, French Montana, Illuminati, something, nigga, I'm from the streets trying to downplay it, and Jay-Z, talking about, Illuminati, like Illuminati where? Y'all think I'm in the Illuminati? Yes. All these things, what I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say is there seems to be a recurring theme in this hellscape, right? And we are in hell. Go watch my series. We are in hell part 1 through, I think, 4, to understand my worldview. And that is, the masses never believe the people who tell the truth of the reality until after they're gone. Number one, they don't like you while you're here. Most times. Because it literally is like the Matrix. You're a disruptor. People just want to live peaceful and quiet lives and quote unquote do what they gotta do without ruffling any feathers, because they don't have the mental energy to, and they don't want to put things at risk. We're a fucking dumbed down, watered down, really comfortable, really trash version of what human beings can be, potentially. We are. And so, for the most part, every time somebody comes out and has the story right and has the right answer, you never really fuck with them. You never really fuck with them. You fuck with them after they're gone. Right? I was surprised when I learned like a large majority of blacks didn't fuck with Martin Luther King during the time of the civil rights, because they didn't fuck with his message. They didn't rock with him. There's a lot of blacks that didn't really, still to this day, they didn't really mess with integration. But outside of that, there was just a lot of scary ass niggas that didn't want to rock with him, because they didn't want any kind of, retaliation or retribution from the white folk. And we could go down the list. There's a lot of people that predict exactly how things are going to go, and you call them crazy. And so here's one thing that I agree. I'm going to tell you something. Here's one thing that I agree, because the builders of this world understand what we understand. And they laugh. They laugh at what I'm about to say. They call it pearls before swine. They think of you as swine. And what they're saying is, never cast wisdom and jewels before swine. They call it pearls before swine. This is a realization of the early forms of Freemasonry. This is a realization of the men who started Freemasonry. Right? In the mystery schools, they realized early that, some people say, well, okay, the people who have the higher knowledge of how this thing works, they're assholes because they don't share information to the general public. And then some of the mystery school people, their retort is, well, we tried that. And half of y'all are so closed-minded. And when you hear what the truth of the reality is, you dismiss it. And not only that, at least for white people, understand something about history, right? Like, the 7,000 years of recorded history is 7,000 years of white people's recorded history. Just in case y'all are confused, I don't think a lot of y'all are confused. This is their time and their history, and I'm not arguing and I'm not being racist. I'm just telling you a fact. 7,000 years of recorded history. We've been around for, who knows, some people purport hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years, but 7,000 recorded years on the white man's clock. White people, I don't have a problem with you. I'm not militant. I know y'all don't know my page yet, so I'm just telling you what it is. And that whole time, when he was given the 33 degrees of knowledge, initially there were a bunch of them that tried to teach the masses, and they were hunted. They had to go into hiding. Y'all can look up like the origins of like Adam Weishaupt and the origins of Freemasonry. They went into hiding because they realized that y'all are just rabid fucking knuckle dragging Cro-Mag, and by y'all I just mean humanity, that you will actually hate knowledge because it disrupts things. People want stability, even if the stability is stupid. Now I'm here to tell you I've experienced this. This is what I agree with. This is what I agree with the Masons, right? I'm not a Mason, and I'm not trying to be. I'm self-initiated, but here's what I agree, because I've experienced this. The things that you see in The Matrix, or you see in Inception, where in both movies they show this thing where in The Matrix it's in the form of the agent can be anywhere because all eyes are watching, and anyone that's going too far left or too far right outside of the norm, somebody's gonna pop up in the form of an agent. In Inception, the main guy, DiCaprio's character, says when he's teaching her how to move through the dream, and then the dream people are having a reaction towards her because she's different. He says if you make too much movement and if you bother them too much, they're going to turn against you. Talking about the dream people. The dream people were just a mass of normal people in that reality. And if she was to do certain things, moving the reality too much outside of the norm, the people will react. I'm here to tell you that's how this reality is right now. I don't have to get into deep, dark conspiracies. Anytime somebody comes out and says the truth, the first reaction is like a visceral anger and a hate and like a, man, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, here you go with that dumb shit. It is visceral, and I've gone through this and I've seen this myself. And so for the most part in today's modern society, people like me we just keep quiet. You get the knowledge, you tell a few certain people that either want to hear or want to understand, or like-minded people like you, and you don't force it on people. And so where you start from, because we learn from history, right? They're going to burn you at the stake, Joan of Arc, right? When Malcolm X started telling the truth of his observations on the Nation of Islam, they murdered him. I don't know. We don't know who they is. Could be the government. Could have been his own people. When Khalid Muhammad started talking about the truth of what he saw internally, they murdered him. We don't know who they is. We don't know if it's the government or the Nation of Islam. And we can go down a list, bro. I literally could just make a video of a list of people that just speak out and motherfuckers don't really mess with them until later on. And so you just learn to keep quiet. Cause you learn. Like I'm me and people like me ain't trying to be martyrs. Phil Schneider, they murdered him. He talked the truth about some of the dealings inside the government. Yeah, I'm gonna go through a little bit of list just off the top of the dome. I've read so many things. The guy that rode Behold a Pale Horse, I forgot his name, murdered him, and they all died weird. If y'all watch the Thrive documentary, the guy that made the first, at least recorded, big time 0 point energy, made the first 0 point energy generator. They murdered him. They beat him so bad, they couldn't recognize his face. Took all his documentation. This was a European guy. I know a lot of y'all don't know that story. These niggas just be hopping out in the middle of the goddamn street. It's wild to me. They murdered him. the guy that made the hydrogen powered electric car. They made I think either a documentary or a movie. They murdered him when he was about to die. They had a meeting in a diner for to speak on how they were going to copyright it, because after he had fought for all the stuff, and he had fought for all of the things in the courts, and finally was going to get it legalized through business, and so that he could mass produce this car that ran just on water. It was a hydroelectric car. They poisoned him in the diner that he met with the exec, and he said just before he died, they got me. He ran out the goddamn diner holding his throat, saying, they got me. So motherfuckers will tell you that. I mean, I don't think anybody disbelieves that this whole place could run off of free energy devices. We could do away with the grid tomorrow. We could do away with it today. Truth be told, you can create that within yourself, but that's a whole nother weird topic. So scratch that, right? But we could do away with all of those things today. And I'm sure if I had more time, I could think about a whole bunch of other stuff that I read. And so what I'm trying to say to you, you know what I'm saying, I know I'm stumbling around a little bit because I'm kind of passionate about it. So Diddy is out here now, and you're finding out that he had the parties, right? And he was, I've heard the jokes. They call him the diddler. If y'all can look it up, the diddling kids comes from, it's a term that's taken from the priesthoods. That's what they would name the priests that touch the kids, diddlers. And so Diddy's getting shook up, and now they did Bill Cosby, and then R. Kelly, and the list goes on and on and on. And so here's another observation, okay? It's a dismantling of the black boule, okay? That's what it looks like to me. Because I see Harvey Weinstein, and I see, what was the other dude who had the island, Epstein? I see that the devil, quote unquote devil. Remember, I'm not religious. I'm talking about a mindset, an anti-humanistic mindset when I say the devil, right? The adversarial mindset doesn't really ultimately care too much about race. But yes, black people, you are going to, the conduit is through white people. I'm sorry. It's obvious. I don't know why we always arguing about that. And through their lens of retribution, through the adversarial mindset, through the devil. I didn't call them the devil, but as a conduit through the devil, you're going to get dragged way more. Dan Snyder has a Netflix fucking documentary on how he was fucking with them kids and how terrible of a person he is. Dan Snyder is the president of Nickelodeon. They got a big documentary on that now. But do you see, is there any big fervor in the media? Is there any, is it as big as Bill Cosby or Diddy? And now people are whispering Jay-Z and all, you know what I'm saying? What's going on there too, real quick, and then I'll shut the video down. I'm at 24 minutes. What's going on there is, y'all gotta understand how, I'll just say micro traumas, trauma-based mind control, and mind control in general is an area that I've looked into. It doesn't have to be as serious as World War II experiments. Some of y'all might have seen that video where the guy can only walk backwards, right? Programming people through trauma has been one of the oldest forms of getting people to do what the fuck you want them to do, right? But there's dosages. The people in power also know that a steady trick, y'all ever heard of Chinese water torture, right? Most of y'all have heard about this waterboarding. where, it's just a drop of water, and it drops every 30 seconds or maybe less, and it keeps dropping on your forehead. And initially, you might be okay, but they leave you under that for extended periods of time. And the water, constant bloop, 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 right in the middle of your forehead, will drive you mad. It's one of the worst tortures that people describe. And so micro tortures are like that. Emil, can you explain to me what a micro torture is? Sure. We go through it every day. Your job is one. Not being able to pay the bill. Things that you're constantly thinking about. These are micro tortures. And so to extrapolate on a micro torture, well, not to extrapolate on it, but to go to my point, another one that I notice is taking away the heroes from people. Y'all have to see this already. I'm sure I don't have to elaborate too much, but one of the controllers' fun tricks, they have a bag of tricks. One of their fun tricks is to build people up to knock them down, right? We say it all the time, we see it all the time. Yeah, they like to build you up and then take it away. And then the deeper aspect is, well, why? Well, number one, it's fun for them, right? It's fun for them. Make you feel like you're gonna get everything that you want and take it away. And secondly, it does this. If you can build someone, right? In social media, usually it's through movies, television, hip hop, and sports. You can build someone up and have them be a model citizen. Get a large, massive following of these people, and then eventually, you wait a whole time. You let these people grow up with these people, and then completely defame, discredit, and prove. And sometimes, and they're not wrong, prove that these people ain't really worth shit. If you can do this, there's trauma there. You think that there's not. So when Bill Cosby gets, after 40, 50 years of being pretty much an example, an archetype of a Black American fatherhood, like a positive role model, a doctor, takes care of his family, has a nice house, beautiful, sweet, funny kids, loves on his wife, right? This is what we would all envision to be a good husband and a father. And so the archetype is a deep thing. And so we're like, okay, well, we have a positive Black role model. And you think it's different because you're like, that's a character on television. And then in real life, gets accused and convicted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to debate. I'm not here because, listen, once you're in Hollywood, maybe you did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to vindicate him, and I'm not here to condemn him. I'm in the middle, but I'm trying to prove a point. That's a micro torture. There's going to be a generation or generations of people that man, who do I have to look up to? I know because it happened to me and I'm woke, but I peep what they're doing. You build somebody up like Kobe, you take him away. That's a trauma. That shit hit me. Kobe was my age. I grew up playing basketball. I watched him when he was a nobody, and I was like, man, this kid's gonna be good. I called it. I was invested in this story because not too many things trap me here except for basketball. Basketball is the only worldly thing that I'm peeking my eyes in. And he died in a weird accident, and there's a whole bunch of conspiracy. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Okay, well, whatever you believe about it, he died. That archetype is gone. Somebody who wakes up every morning, grinds all day, craft that, I liked his work ethic. Anyway, all the things, I vibed with him. That was a micro trauma. Cause it's I have nothing else to I remember when he died, I'm like, I don't really want to fuck with basketball anymore. Number one, because the way that my mind is, I was like, he's definitely an Illuminati sacrifice, and I was on some fuck the Illuminati type shit. I'm always like that, but when, when it's one of those things, when it's something close to you, you're like, man, fuck that shit. So that's a micro trauma. And so y'all get what I'm saying. That the controllers deal small traumas into reality all the time. And what's the purpose? Go watch my Where in Hell series. It is to harness energy. Once you understand how energetics work, negative emotions seem to feed this place way better. It's not that positive emotions don't feed this place. It's just that the quality of emotions are tastier to the people who feed. And so that's it, y'all. I mean, I guess the point of the video is we have to work on being open-minded. And by we, I'm talking about the people. I have stepped into a realm a long time ago of like step backedness, right? Like, what does that mean? Step backedness. Like, I'm in the middle. I'm more apathetic. As you can tell from my passion, I'm really like, I care too much about the state of where we are and who we are as a species. I really like be wondering, like, what's wrong with me? Why was I made this way? To care about us in a large, like, I care about the whole. I care about what we could potentially be. And so the first step, because this was my first step. You're gonna hear this theme on the channel a lot. Like, how did I get here? I'm not from a wild, woke family. I'm from a regular, everyday family. I didn't have any mentors growing up that, you know what I'm saying? And then I look back and it was like, I was just made with a couple of things. But the main thing was an open mind. And I think some humility. I don't run around this bitch like I know everything, because I don't. And then I realized that the monks feel the same. I realized early that I don't know a lot. And I didn't have to meditate to understand that. I was just like, wait, I don't know anything. And that was like one of the first fucking aha moments. The stuff that you know about your job and how to drive a car and goes into the vast bucket of nothing. That doesn't mean shit. I don't know how anything works. So anyway, with that said, I keep an open mind. An open mind is the first step. And so I'm asking people to open your minds. It's called open-minded skepticism. Now, this world, you have to be a skeptic too. Again, I look back at how I was, and I think I was made different. It took me way longer than the average person to realize that nobody knows what the fuck is going on. For me, it was into my preteens, like 12. I walked around this whole thinking that everybody that was above me and who lived more life understood the reality more than me. Not understanding that the time that I had taken to ponder, think, and just be by myself at a young age and just think about things gave me more insight and intuition as to what's going on. And I was more times right, but I deferred to a lot of people in asking them explanations of the reality. And I was like, sometimes you hear the bullshit, but these are your elders, respectful, like, oh, okay, I hear you, maybe that what they're saying is right. It took me into my early teenager to realize that a lot of these adults don't know what the fuck is going on. I actually know more than them. But I was open-minded. And even people that don't know will give you some portion of the jewel that you're missing. Right? Sometimes you be like on high and you got all the knowledge, and somebody, you know what I'm saying, some know nothing will come to you and just say something, and you're like, wow, that really just grounded all, like, that was the key. Hot, like, that's so wild. They don't even know what the fuck they told you. But so what I'm saying is keep your mind open, man. Open-minded skepticism. But y'all know the term cognitive dissonance. When somebody says something to you and it's like wild off your worldview, anytime somebody says something that's wild to me, I'll be like, explain. And so I've been accused of making way too many friends with quote unquote crazy people. I've been accused of that. Like, damn, you entertain that nigga. It's wild. And then sometimes people look at that with admiration. Like, you'll listen to that? And that to me is a marker of closed-mindedness. If I say something to you and you're just like, nah. So listen, I'm ending the video up. Shout out to all the truth bearers, truth speakers, the truthers. Shout out to all the people that kind of know what's going on ahead of the time. It's never going to change. I think, like, as I said, the newer version, like me, we ain't trying to be martyrs. A lot of us have already. Listen, Mark Passio said this the best. The truth is combative by nature. But I'm not really I'm not really willing to combat y'all, because there's no great benefit except to the demise of the person that's telling the truth. So yeah, I take a step back. I'm not one of these niggas that's like, I'm willing to sacrifice it all. I've been there. I'm willing to sacrifice it all if niggas wake up, but I'm not willing to sacrifice. Y'all have proved time and time again that you enjoy this realm the way that it is. And so people like me have had to, like, withdraw and just be like, it is what it is. I'm not apathetic. I've gotten to the point where it's like, and I'm gonna say this boldly, okay? We're at 37 minutes. I know I keep saying I'm gonna shut it down, but so that you understand me. Y'all get how radical I am from the We Are in Hell series. Go watch that. And I'm gonna say something even more bold. I've gotten to the point where it's like, well, I know that this thing is cyclical. The way that our mass consciousness, the way that we agree on this reality in large portions dictates how the reality is going to be. And so we're in a cycle of where we've forgotten and we're lost, right? To put it nicely. And so I'm not speaking for other woke and other truthers or whatever. There's nothing that we could do. And I've also gotten into kind of like the angry status, but I'm going to just say this is a truth. It's not because I'm angry. We deserve whatever, like, we deserve whatever happens. We deserve it. It ain't going to be like, oh, we should have listened to it. Okay, you didn't want to listen, so it is what it is. If anything should happen, and I'm going to tell you something. Well, let me finish this thought. We deserve what's going to happen. And so I wash my hands clean. I'm relegated to just chilling and trying to be the happiest individual. My greatest wish is that we can be a happy, large group of people, but I detach from motherfuckers. I have so much. You know what I did all day? I've been driving around in this car with no music, no YouTube, no nothing. Just staring and thinking, doing mind practices all day, and I'm in a great fucking spirit. A lot of people watch me on a day-to-day and just be like, that guy's weird, and I've had to detach. There's nothing positive in the reality that I can, like, you understand, that I can listen to for prolonged periods of time. So meditation and peace and quiet in my own mind, when I'm left to my own devices, I'm fine. That's why I love this job. If you're following me from the Quit My Job series, I like this job because, not because the pay is great. Actually, I make less money than what I did before, but there's no one to antagonize me with neuroses and ego and power tripping and power structures. And it's just me. And so what I'm trying to say is, The new version of the truthers is the truth has observed that most times you're not going to really make a dent in anything, because this is the cycle of the fallen, and we are the fallen, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered. Like, I don't see. I say this to myself all the time. I don't really see outside of some kind of actual divine intervention, and we don't believe in that over here. We don't, unless it proves itself. Divine intervention, like some kind of holy goddamn zeitgeist happen and all of us wake up at the same time. We're in the grips. And a lot of y'all don't think you're in the grips. A lot of y'all think everything is okay. And the reason why you think everything is okay is because the builders, the Masons, the Illuminati, the controllers of this world, the groups, the Tavistock Institutes, the Bilderberg groups, the Imperial colleges that think and plan where we're going, the transhumanism, the singularity consciousness, right? Man versus machine. We're going into that, and it's done in a what they call it, a step. It's a man, I can't remember the term. We're tiptoeing in it. And so the people that like decide how far we're going to go out in the future, a simple tactic that they do to make you feel like nothing has changed is just give you micro changes, and by the time you die, 60, 70, 100 years, it's changed so drastic, but people are growing up into it. And there's very few people that like are looking around like, what the fuck? But I'm telling you that it's speeding up. They get impatient. Stuff like the jab that happened in 2020 was like, let's speed this up to see where people are. A lot of it is testers to see where the mass consciousness is. Oh, they're buying it. Okay, let's go faster. And so because sometimes they'll put something out in a reality and you're like, nah, that don't make no sense. And once enough of us are like, no, that doesn't make any sense at all, something's wrong, then they slow it down. This is a game of control and power. And so for y'all that don't think anything is going on, it's just like the course of time going normally, that's not what it is. You're going into an anti-humanistic future, an adversarial future. What I mean by that is things that are anti-nature. You have a nature. When you eat the leaves in the trees, it seems to do great things for your body and your pineal gland, and you can do all types of shit and astral travel. And I've done some mystical shit. I want to start making videos about that. I just didn't want to be weird out the back. I've done some things that we would be considered like, oh, nigga, I don't know if I could believe that. That's the life that you can do if you just align yourself with the nature. It doesn't mean you have to be a cornball tree hugger or whatever. But you're going into anti-nature thing. This device that I'm using right now, you're on this shit all day. I have somebody that I know and love daily that like cannot detach from this thing, the phone I'm talking about, and finds it offensive when I'm like, let's get some quiet time. And so that's my rant, y'all. Keep an open mind, man. We need a new breed of people to tell the truth. You have to be somewhere in the middle. Yes, I know that if you're too open-minded, you can become a weirdo, tinfoil hatter. And if you're too closed-minded, you never learn anything new. And I'm here to tell you something. If you watch my We're in Hell series, those are the people that return the most hair. Closed-minded people. People that have their mind made up, that they understand this place. You're going to come back here. You're actually the prime candidate for coming back here. Because you don't believe anything. And so be, as a Jedi would say, be mindful of your thoughts. This is your boy M's in the Grid. Hope you like this rant. I know I haven't spoken to y'all in a while. If y'all want more videos like this, let me know. I have one that I really want to, it's a topic, and it's called disclosure, because I think people need to understand how the game is played in terms of karma and disclosure. You're wondering how like the controllers have escaped, like wild karma for so many years, close to 6,000, 7,000 years. And I have the explanation for you of how to escape karma. So let me know in the comment section if that's something of interest to you, because I think it's a major key. It was an aha moment for me when I grasped this concept. And thank you for listening, man. It's your boy Ems the Grid. Peace. Have an excellent day.